Hello and welcome back to Tingwinger 5. Today we're going to be doing a very requested video on power supplies. People always ask, how do you know where all the cables go and why they plug in just there and nowhere else? Can your computer be blown up by this? No, it can't. Well, this is a semi-modular power supply. Most power supplies will just have the cables in the bottom left. And we're going to take you through the basic types. That first one was a 4-pin ATX. These are 6-pin PCI Express. These will plug into high-end graphics cards. We have the 8-pin ATX cable. Now these are located at the top of the board. And we have the very familiar 24-pin. That plugs straight into your motherboard. We also have, of course, the SATA connections. These plug into your hard drives or optical drives. And everyone's favourite, the 4-pin Molex. Now these are just the basic types. There is only certain slots they can fit in. There's also a floppy drive connector, but rarely used now. I've seen it used on some card readers recently, but not very much. Since filming that first video, I bought a new power supply to replace it. This is a Be Quiet 800 watt, and it is almost completely modular. The only cable on there is a 24-pin motherboard cable. And we have all of these modules. They're actually really easy to read. I'm just going to take you through some basics on how to connect everything up, and every power supply I've seen uses that kettle lead. Now we're going to take off the plastic from here because that is always the best part. It is a Be Quiet Dark Power Pro 850 watt. Now the 24-pin is the most easiest to recognise. It only has one on the board that will ever fit it, and you need to keep an eye on where that key is. So on the key, on the top of it here, you'll see it's actually on the inside, and you simply push it in. As you do with all power supplies, be very gentle, you don't want to bend the board, and you just push it in. The key clips on, and that's how you know it's in. Now, not all board has this one. This is an 8-pin ATX. Your board might have a 4-pin ATX, or it might not have one at all. I've seen some that use a 4-pin Molex. It's easy enough to plug in, and it only fits in one way, as the plastic plugs are actually different shapes. Your 4-pin Molex, they're easy enough to do. If you have trouble putting them together like this, I find it's easy just to wiggle the ends, find out which one isn't fitting properly. And you'll also find these on some old motherboards for PCI Express or the ATX. You'll also find them on old optical drives and older hard drives, back when they're using IDE. Now plugging SATA in is even easier, as they have a key on the one side. You can't really see from this shot, but they have a key on the one side, so they only fit in one way. Now we have all of these options on a modular power supply, so drives 1 through 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, now that contains Molexes and all sorts. PCI Express has its own slots. This power supply also has an overclocking feature where it turns all the rails into one rail. And here's what it looks like when you've got everything plugged up. Now it looks quite messy because you're zoomed in so far, but you want to keep everything out of the way of the airflow. So I have everything at the bottom of my case where there's no fans, it's all still airflow. And you also want to read the manual. So I didn't actually read the manual, and I connected multiple fans per multiple cables. It wasn't a smart move on my part. So make sure you read the manual. Power supplies are very easy to set up. You don't need to worry about it at all. Anyone can do it. You can't plug things in the wrong way unless you really try. Thanks for watching, everyone.